Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day, where our recitation continues from Sri Rag Ke Chant, Mahalla Panjama. This is the second in a set of 5 that we will be reading through. It is fairly short, so we will be able to spend perhaps line by line, engage in a line by line understanding. So let's try and make that attempt. The first reading, I will read through the entire passage and then return to the top. Dakhana Sohandaro Habh, Koi na dise dujado, Khullade kapat, Nanak Satgur Pete Chant, Tere bachan anup apar, Santan adhar, Bani bichariye jiyo, Simrat saas giras puran bisas, Kyo mano bisariye jiyo, Kyo mano bisariye nimak nahi tariye, गुणवंत प्राण हमारे मन बांछत फल देत है स्वामी जी की बिरथा सारे अनाथ के नाथे श्रब के साथे जपी जुए जन्म नहारिय नानक की बेनंती प्रभ पह कृपा कर पवजल तारिय. Back to the top. Sohandaro Habh, Koi na dise dujado, Khullade kapat, Nanak Satgur Pete. So Sohandaro, the beautiful one, Habh, in all places, dujado, the other. So the beautiful pervades everywhere. I can see no other. So if we recall in the previous verse, we observed that the vision of the self or self-knowledge was possible only through the transformation of our perception. And that thought is being furthered here in asserting that the self is all pervasive if only we have the eyes to see. And eyes in not the physical eyes here, but the insight to see it, or the perception to see it. And how does that come? Khullade kapat nanak satgur pete. Kapat means a shutter or a door, something that you use to actually prevent the flow of air. And so the Guru is using this to signify that our minds are closed, are wrapped around, closed by haume. That is our conditioning, which prevents us from seeing the unity. And it comes only if Satgur Pete, if we pay heed to the teachings of the Satgur. That will lead you to a perception, to that sense of the unity behind the appearance of diversity. And then in the Shant section, the verse begins to speak in praise of the Guru's wisdom. Tere bachan anup apar santan adhar bani bichariye jiyo. Tere bachan anup, beyond all praise, apar, sublime, transcendental, is your discourse of the word, of the logos. So this is the foundation for those who are on the path. Santan adhar. And what is the foundation? Bani bichariye jiyo. Concentration, focus on the message that comes through the discourse of the Satgur. And then, Simrat saas giras puran bisyas, kyo mano bisariye jiyo. So in addition to pondering and reflecting and concentrating on the message, we also have to center the mind, the self, with every breath and morsel, saas giras, all the time, uninterrupted remembrance, simrat. So what is being said here is the practice of constant awareness. Awareness of what? Of the all-pervading self. Ordinarily, we are on automatic mode, going about our business like robots, habitually and mindlessly. And then the mind's conditioning just takes over. We are being asked here to become self-aware, to recognize that the self is within and without all the time. Kyo mano besariye nimak nahi tariye gunwant pran amaro. As a matter of fact, the self is the source of life, the source of breath, and the treasure house of qualities and excellences, gunwant. So if we reflect on the discourse of the Satguru and we practice Hazar Nazarta, or the presence of the self in our minds, then we will begin to assimilate the qualities of the self within us. Kunwant pran hamare. And then what happens? Man banchat phal deta hai. Man banchat phal deta hai Swami. The master then, manabanchat, whatever your mind wishes, grants that wish. Now, normally, we tend to think that the master, the self, is some sort of a wishing machine, that you could just wish for anything and have it fulfilled. That's really not the import of manabanchat phaladeta Swami. What it means here is that the mind is brought to its fullness, fruition, sadavigas, by eliminating the ego and birtha sare. Birtha means whatever has no value, superfluous, whatever is fruitless, meaning the chase that we are after is not going to bear any fruit. That's what happens. And in the end, anath ke nathe, srab ke sathe, jap juwe janam na hariye. That master who is our owner, so to speak, our master, understand, jap, understand, contemplate, get insight into the nature of the self, work at it. Janamana hariye, juve janamana hariye, I mean, don't gamble away your life, because that is what a lot of us are doing. Develop this intuitive awareness of the self, who's forever present with you. And that is Nanak's plea. Nanak ki binanti prabh peh, to the prabh self. Prabh is that attribute of the self which is wisdom, which is gur. So Nanak ji is making that plea. Kirpa kar pavjalatariya, have mercy on me and shape me so that I can be carried across the ocean of illusion or the ocean of fear, which is a metaphor for the life that we are living, the journey that we are on, which is riddled with fear, because that is another name for haume. Haume is driven by the instinct of self-preservation and replication. That's all it knows. But the Guru is telling us there is something more to be known than just replication of yourself and self-preservation. There is more to the belly, and that the Satgur will give you insight into. With that thought, until the next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.